I got a call from a homeowner that has a top-load wash machine that will fill and agitate the clothes, but it will not drain or spin. If that happens to a top-load wash machine, it's usually for one of two reasons. Either the pump has gone bad or is clogged, or it's a bad lid switch. After speaking with the homeowner, I'm pretty sure it's a bad lid switch. I got a new one, and I'll show you how to replace it. Let's get started. Okay, as I stated, the problem we're having with this wash machine is that it'll fill with water. See it filling? The agitator will agitate, but when you turn to the spin cycle, nothing. So let's go ahead and unplug it and check it out. Now when this switch is depressed, you should hear a clicking sound, and there's nothing. So either the switch is completely shot and we need to replace it, or it's possible that this can be fixed. Now oftentimes the problem with this is the glue that holds this case together doesn't hold over time, and that case will split open, and that's why you can't get that switch to work. But this time that does not happen to be the problem, and I'll show you how to change that switch out. Now, one thing I want to do, pulling this panel off, just to be careful, is turn off the hot and cold water. The first thing we need to do to get at the switch is unscrew. There's a screw on each side, one there and one over there, and then we can tip this control panel up. So you take a Phillips screwdriver, and these are in at a 45-degree angle, and the other side. And now what we need to do is pull this control panel forward just a 1/4 inch and tip it up. And you can see there's these little lock bars in here that go in there. We'll just tip that up out of the way. Now this is the connector that goes to our lid switch. We'll disconnect this. It's just a little tab that pulls out there, and you pull it straight up. That disconnects it. Another thing you can do to do a continuity test to see if your switch is good or bad, now that we've got that panel open. So I'll turn the ohm meter on. I've got it set to 200 ohms. You can test the ohm meter by touching the two leads together. That means we've got continuity. The power's running all the way through. There's no break in the line. Well, you should get the same thing with the lid closed on the switch by touching the two outside leads. The middle lead is a ground, and you can see I'm touching these, and the ohm meter is not reading anything. The next thing we need to do is remove these two clips, and what that does is it separates the back panel from the cabinet. To do that, all you do is stick a screwdriver, and there's a little lip on there. You pry it that way and lift up, and that releases that, and then that clip holds the back panel because it's hooked on there. So we'll set that aside, do the same thing over here, and it separates the back from the cabinet. Now to remove the cabinet, just lift the lid and tip this forward. And then it slides out. Now we need to remove the connector for the switch, and you'll notice on this side it's all flat. On the back side there's some curved edges, so you want to put it back in the same way. Then we just push in on the little tab there, and you can push that down, push in on the other tab, and it releases that. Now we'll tip this forward to lay it down on the front of the cabinet, and I'll show you how to change out the switch. This is a 5/16 inch nut driver. You could use a wrench, socket. Disconnect the ground wire from the switch. Just loosen that screw. And set it aside. Now that we've got that loosened, there's a clip right here that holds that wire harness in. You just pull back on that clip and it releases that. And then there's another clip for the wire harness near where the switch connector is, and you just pull the wires out from there. It releases the wire. To change the switch out, loosen these two screws. Now we'll reassemble with the new switch. And let's put the switch in here, put the screws in. Don't put it too tight, it's just going into plastic or you'll strip it. Connect the ground wire back up, and it just snaps in. That's it. Now the sides of the cabinet sit on top of this, and the front slides underneath this. When I put the cabinet back on, that's how I'm doing it. So I'll tilt it, put the front underneath there, and the sides will just lay on top of that. Put the back in there and just press it in. And the same thing on this side. Put the clip underneath the lip on the back panel and just push it down. And we're all locked in. Beautiful design. Then we can plug this back in. The tab goes on the front with the catch here. Pull the control panel down. And again, these slots here, each go in the slot there. You put it in and you push it back just about 1/4 inch. Fit right in the slots on both sides. And you just slide it back. With the control panel in place, just need to put the 2 screws back in. Again, they go in at a 45-degree angle. And you don't want to go crazy tightening any of these screws down because a lot of it's plastic. Just snug them up. Now we'll plug it back in. Turn the water back on. Now we'll test it. Of course, it always filled and agitated, but the spin cycle wasn't working. So I'll try the spin cycle. And there we go. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects online.